Hey everyone, welcome back to the series. So we're on to part 3 of Keep Loan, Listen to Offers and Sell. The midfielders is this part. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2 with the goalkeepers and defenders, I recommend going watching them before you watch this part because it'll be more beneficial if you see the whole series and see why I'm thinking why I'm thinking. But I'll let you know quickly. I'm taking into consideration the non-homegrown rules. We're in the Champions League this season, so we can only actually pick 17 non-homegrown players. So sometimes it's not based on pure talent, it's sometimes just the squad limits and we have to pick one or the other. So there's the intro out of the way. Let's get into it. Part 3, midfielders. So here we are for part 3, keep loan, listen to offers or sell. And the non-homegrown count is at 4 because we've got Petrovic, Wesley Fofana, Malo Gusto and Marc Cucurella in my side. And with that out of the way, let's just jump into the midfielders. First of all, we've got Leo Cardoso. We signed him from West Brom as an under 15. He's only got 12 months left on his contract. And at 18 years old, I think it's worth us talking about. And for that reason, I'd probably be listening to offers. There's a strong possibility that he leaves. He only played 2 games for the under-21s last season, so he's not kicked on into that side. He could potentially sign a new deal and be in the under-21s next season, but I feel like there's a potential that he leaves and goes to a side that he could be in the side regularly and get a chance in the first team, and I don't think he's going to be here, so I'm open to listening to offers. The same with Harrison McMahon. We signed him from West Ham as an under 15-year-old. He's only got 12 months left on his contract. If he wants to sign and stay around the under 21s, or does he want to leave and try and get a chance somewhere else in the first team, it's all decisions on the club and him. If we agree on a new contract, does he want to sign a new contract? Do we want to give him a new contract? So I'm open to listening to offers, but if not, if they sign new deals, I'm happy for them to be in the under 21s. And next we've got Rak-Sakyi, and I've put him on the loan section, but that could easily be a listen to offers. He's only got 12 months left on his contract. He's 20 years old now, and when you've signed players like Essugo and you've got Andrey Santos coming back to the side, does he have a chance of getting into the first team? Very doubtful, even if he has a very good loan. He didn't want to sign a new deal, so I expect we'll be listening to offers and he will be sold, but if he could agree a deal with the club, then I'd happily let him go out on loan because I think he's got good qualities, but his chances here are very limited. And then next we've got Kiano Dyer, and he'd be the same. He's got 12 months left on his contract, and if he signs a new deal, I'll be happy for him to go out on loan, but I don't see that happening. He's with the England under-19s for the Euro Championships at the moment, impressing, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of scouts looking at him and thinking maybe we should try and sign him. My belief in Kiano Dyer signing a new deal is going down instance. I'm not that hopeful that he does sign a new deal, so I'd ideally like us to get him to sign a new contract and be around the first team, but when you've signed Essugo and you've got Andrey Santos back and you've got Lavia and you've got Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, it's very hard for him to get a chance, so for that reason, I'm happy for him to go out on loan, but if he can't sign a new deal, we're going to have to sell him, which wouldn't be great because I think he's got great potential, but I don't see him getting a chance here. So probably for his best of his career, it's probably best to move. And next we've got Jimmy Turin, and he's actually signed a new deal for an extra few years, but I'd actually be listening to offers. 21 years old, he's had another season being injured, so I'm not pushing to sell him. I'm happy for him to go out on loan and get first team football. He's at an age now where he needs to be playing first team football, and he's not going to get that here. And an under 21s level is a bit below him now. He's a bit too old for it, really. So I'd be listening to offers, but if the club want to send him out on loan and let him have a season out on loan, I'm happy for that. So I've not put a lock on him. And next we've got Alex Matos, and I'd actually be looking to sell him. He's not a lock to sell. He's one that I'd be open to selling. He's had a season on loan again, didn't get into the side regularly. When he was starting, he was coming off after 65 minutes. He was getting a few yellow cards. Like the other ones, he's only got 12 months left on his contract, so I don't think we'll give him a new deal, and I don't think he'll agree on a new deal. I think it's the time to sell and him to kick on with his career. Next, we've got Leo Castledine. He went on his first loan last season, but he got injured and missed the second half of the season with a back injury. I'd be sending him out on loan and letting him kick on and try and do better the second season. I don't think it's a listen to offers. There's still a lot of potential in there. Will he get a chance here? Probably not, but I still think there's a chance that he makes himself known a bit more in the next loan that he has, and that could double his price for the future and help him get a better move. And then we've got Omari Kellyman. We signed him last summer and he's had an injury-plagued season, unfortunately. I think he needs game time, especially after the last season that he's had it being injured. And next is Famuga, and I think it's a lock on a loan. He's got a long deal. I wouldn't be listening to offers, and I don't think you should keep him because he's a non-homegrown player. If you pick him in your European squad, when you've got Essugo and you've got Andrey Santos, I don't think he's going to get game time, so it's a lock of a loan. it looks like it'll be Strasbourg that it'll be going to. And next we've got Ugochukwu, and I'll be listening to offers. I wouldn't be locked in on that. I'm happy for him to go out on loan if it's another Premier League loan. He had a good second half of the season at Southampton, so maybe he steps up and goes to a better side in Premier League and doesn't have to fight relegation. But I wouldn't be using an international loan slot, sending him out on loan to somewhere in Europe, and I wouldn't be putting him in my squad and using one of the slots when you've got the other midfielders. So for that reason, I'll be listening to offers, but I'm happy for him to go out on loan if it's a Premier League loan and kick on with his career, and hopefully we can get a bigger fee next summer. And then next we've got Carney Chukwuemeka, and he'll also be somebody that I'll be listening to offers for. I really do like Carney Chukwuemeka, but the chances of him playing under Maresca doesn't seem to be happening, and he's had a few injuries, and I don't think keeping him around would be great for his career because he wouldn't get enough game time. So for that reason, I'll be listening to offers, but if we can get another loan for him, I'll be happy with that. I'm not set on listening to offers and being sold. He can easily go out on loan. And then next we've got Dewsbury-Hall, and I'll actually be selling him, and it'll be a lock. I don't feel like he'd get enough game time. I think we could get a decent fee for him. There's an option of keeping him around and being used as a backup for Palmer, but I don't think he'd be getting enough game time, and I feel like the minutes should be going over to somebody like Estevao. So for that reason, I'll be selling. So next we've got Essugo, and he's a keep for me, but I'm not putting him as a lock keep because he uses one of the non-homegrown slots, and if you've got the other midfielders that I mentioned, having 5 slots, maybe the chance of him going out on loan and playing regularly might be beneficial, but I do understand keeping him. That's why I've put him in the section, because he does feel like a good cover for Caicedo. And then next we've got Andrey Santos, and he'll be keep, and he'll be a lock for me. I think his last season at Strasbourg was very beneficial for him, and I feel like he could be really good at covering for Enzo Fernandez and giving us some of that attacking goal threat as well, what you don't get with Caicedo and Lavia. So for that reason, I'll be keeping him, and he's a lock for me. Andrey Santos would also be a non-homegrown player, so we're up to 6. Next we've got Lavia, and he'll be a keep and a lock. I'm hopeful that he can keep the injuries away this season, but if not, we've got Essugo that could come in and play, and I think that's key because we need to keep consistency in the Premiership and the Champions League, so we do need the options. So these 5 players that I'm picking is worthwhile, I feel, so we don't have that drop off and be struggling and run Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo to the ground. And then we've got Caicedo that's a lock. There's not much to explain, but he's another non-homegrown player that takes up to 7. And then we've got Enzo Fernandez that's a lock as well in the keep, and he's also a non-homegrown count, so we're up to 8 now. So as you can see, we're starting to jump up in the non-homegrown section. So there's my list for the midfielders. Let me know in the comment section which you agree with, what I've got wrong. I know people won't agree with me, and that's what football's about. We all have opinions on different things, so let me know. I'm happy to discuss these things with you. So there we have it for the midfielders, and I don't think there'll be many comments disagreeing with me. Maybe it's the Essugo thing and people saying the lock, and I'm happy for him to stay, because if we get an injury to Lavia, the last thing we want is 3 midfielders and being short on numbers. If you're enjoying this, hit the like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on the other content coming. Tomorrow will be the attacking midfielders. I'll see you on the next one, and goodbye.